I don't know what the system is.
Here we are.
There we go.
How long have you been doing this?
Good morning. We're going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads for a prayer. Heavenly Father, we beseech your divine guidance in this meeting. Keep us ever mindful of our obligation. Grant us, dear Lord, wisdom, tolerance, and courage that we may well serve our county and fulfill our trust. Amen.
Amen. I will make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 25th meeting.
I will second the motion.
Motion and second. Any discussion? And I was not present at the meeting, but I have reviewed the meeting notes and the minutes, and so I will participate in the vote. Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes. Okay, next public comment. Is there any public comment regarding pending resolutions? Seeing none, we'll move on to resolutions. We have the engineer here represented by Dan Becker. Dan, good morning.
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 I've got three resolutions for your consideration today. The first is approving annual assessments on the Sharon Falls subdivision Phase 3. The second is approving the final plat for that same subdivision. And the third is determining the necessity to close various county roads for multiple culvert replacements. Sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the three resolutions.
I will second the motion.
Motion second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Next up, Jeremy Cinco, sanitary engineer. Morning, Jeremy.
Morning, everyone. I have 34 resolutions for consideration today.
30.
April Fools. I got two.
Oh, that's good.
The first is
You almost
authorizing.
had me. You really did.
The first is authorizing a cooperative agreement between the County of Medina and the Ohio Water Development Authority for the Marks Road Water Main Replacement Project. The second is authorizing the sanitary engineer to enter an agreement with Hazen and Sawyer for professional design services to model the existing aeration tanks at the Hinckley Wastewater Treatment Plant.
I'll make a motion to approve the two resolutions.
Second the motion.
Motion second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Next up, Holly from HR. Good morning, Holly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Two resolutions for you today. The first being our personnel changes. We have 3 new hires, 2 in sanitary, 1 at Job and Family Services, 10 rate increases, 2 in maintenance, 4 in Job and Family Services, 3 at senior and adult services. I don't have, it's not going to work all the time. Sassy. 1 in the print shop. 1 lateral change at Job and Family Services, 3 leave of absence, 1 in Commissioners, 1 in Job and Family Services, and 1 in Planning, 2 return from leaves, 1 in Finance, and 1 at Job and Family Services, and 1 resignation in the Building Department. Second resolution is amending the table of organization for the Medina County Building Inspection Department.
I'll make a motion to approve the two resolutions.
Second the motion.
Motions and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.
Thank you.
Next up, finance. Do you want to move on to? Okay, we'll move on to County Administrator Matt Springer.
Brett will be with us in 1 second.
He's out in the hallways coming in.
Yeah, I have 2 resolutions this morning. The first one is approving a license agreement with the Medina County Park District. This would be to install and maintain a communications tower to be used by the Sheriff's Office as well as other safety forces. And then the second resolution is approving change orders 16 through 34 for the restroom renovation project. This was by far the most extensive of the work. This is on the first floor of this building. The project is still scheduled to be completed by Monday, May 19th. We can turn it over for full use.
I'll make a motion to approve the two resolutions.
Second the motion.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
I'm sure the people on the first floor are going to be thrilled to get that done.
Yeah.
And that change order is the one that included. Was there a drain that had to be repositioned?
We had multiple sanitary lines that were cracked.
Yeah.
Some were buried under concrete. There was asbestos abatement. There was just a host of unforeseen logistical problems
That we
with
didn't
the
have on the
plumbing.
other floors.
No, that we did
Yeah.
not have on the other
Yep.
floors. So
Okay.
we've identified all the problems. We think we're on the right path. So
You're very confident when you say we've identified all the problems. I'll take
we
that.
anticipate one more.
Is that an April Fool's joke?
No, that one's not.
Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Next up, finance. Brett.
Good morning, Commissioners. My apologies. There was somebody asking for directions on the square out there. So, all right, I have 7 resolutions for you today. The first one is the creation of a Board of Elections Primary 2025 Fund and authorizing appropriations. This is money being sent down from the Ohio Secretary of State to fulfill our election obligations for a few changes that they have made to our election proceedings. And that's in the amount of $234,491. Our second resolution is an amendment to the fiscal year 25 felony delinquent care and reclaim grant and amending those appropriations. That's just kind of a rebalance of the grant funds. Our third resolution is approving the donation of unneeded surplus from the Medina County Home to the Medina County Historical Society. Our fourth resolution is approving the transfer of Medina County excess inventory between offices. Our fifth resolution is our excess property resolution. We have a rather large list of disposals this time, coming from a couple different projects that are being done between the sheriff and DR primarily. And our sixth resolution is expenses of county officials. Most of the items on here are pretty straightforward. We do have one that is of note, which is the amount for the sheriff for the Lorain County Community College for the Police Academy. This is a little late filed. It was just a clerical error on their part. So we are catching it at the tail end here of the cadet coming out. And then finally, our seventh resolution is our weekly bills in the amount of $1,344,302.23.
I'll make a motion to approve the 7 resolutions.
Second the motion.
Motion second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I do have a question regarding the Board of Elections primary grant fund. Is this anticipation of covering the cost, the additional cost, because of the electronic poll book issue that they have to?
That is actually this predates that.
Oh,
that
okay,
is
got it.
going to be a secondary set of training for all poll workers. And will be the Secretary of State will be providing us a reimbursement essentially of those costs. So as we get those calculated,
Okay,
we'll have
all
a
right.
better idea of what that is.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Any other discussion? And it is good when we get at least some funding for additional requirements. So I'm glad to see that coming in. Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Brett. Moving on to department updates. We're going to start with transit. Shannon Ryan.
Good morning. No April Fool from me. I do have one resolution for your consideration, approving the Medina County Public Transit contract extension with Ace Taxi for our JFS services third-year option.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Motion second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
And as far as the February report, I would have been here last week. I was attending a conference, small operators conference, a rural conference, basically with ODOT. A lot of good information shared, a lot of funding information as we make that transition fully to rural. Many things come with that reporting. We're still reporting to the federal FTA as we have for our trend review coming up and our national transit database. But we're working on making the transition, which is quite interesting, and they've been very helpful. The conference was very helpful for the information. Some of the numbers for February were, some were up. Stayed steady for total ridership. We're really watching that. As we get into the nicer days, we'll have a lot more ridership. I think it just continues to go up as the weather gets better. We are continuing to be just really efficient. Really happy to see our total operations cost come down. The team is working very hard to not put unnecessary service out there and maximize the fleet we have. It shows in our passengers per revenue hour for total of 2.48, which is strong. It was in the high ones for a while until we got to this point. So we're scheduling more efficiently, and I gave that a lot of credit to my team, our team. Trip denials were 0 in February. It always is the goal. It's a lofty goal, but we met it that month, and we're going to continue to strive. The team is all in when it comes to finding a way to give everybody a trip, which is very important to us. Looking at our contracted trips, that remains really strong. I think it's important to know that, those trips cannot be denied, even the longer trips. So I think some of the things that we're doing to make sure that we're getting people to work with that zero trip denial, we're still meeting the needs of the contracted services, even though the county is quite large, as we all know. It's been a real challenge some weeks, but the team works hard at it, as I said. And our out-of-county transportation, that's the contract we just talked about. Those trips were a little light this last couple of months. We expect them to come back up, but that's a service provided by East Taxi. Some other information. We heard from Greater Cleveland RTA in regards to the service that they have going up in the Cuyahoga County, the Route 251. A lot of discussions, good discussions, productive discussions. They're making some decisions about what they're going to do later on this year. I believe they're going to have some more information coming out and making sure that the public understands. I think it'll be minimal to the Brunswick. I think it's important to remember that the Brunswick MC Flex continues to remain strong for the services in Medina County. We're in preliminary talks with trying to make sure that we can make a connection with Cuyahoga County, but it's very preliminary right now.
So, two things. One, the report, you've got Office of Older Adults. And,
Yeah, you saw that. Thank
Yeah.
you. I tried to make sure that that's. I will make sure.
That's a minimal note,
The
but
name change. Thank you.
just a little bit of feedback.
I'm going to hear about that later. I think it's okay.
Also, though, so your point at the end about the Cleveland connection and those things, there's no changes anticipated to the Brunswick Flex service. That's going to continue irrespective of anything that happens.
That's
in Cuyahoga County.
correct.
Okay.
Just to get more efficient, but yes, we'll provide the growing need in Brunswick, which it really changes month over month. We did some. We have a plan to go speak with Brunswick later on this month, and looking at their ridership fluctuations month over month, it's between 1,500 and 1,800 trips a month, which is a lot for that one area. So it's a service that's needed, and we really make sure that we pay close attention to our neighbors to the north.
Right. Well, and I mean, our service is what we receive funding for and things like that. The things we have control over, we're going to keep that strong up there and on par with the demand. So that I think that's an important story to tell from a Medina County transit perspective.
Absolutely. I was on a conference call. Just wanted to mention this too. I was on a conference call, a virtual call with other transits that are doing micro transit across the state. Almost all of them are outsourcing that.
Yeah.
They're finding another private service to run it.
Really?
Yeah, and we were the only ones internal that, and our numbers were pretty strong.
That was gonna be my next question. Do you have any of their data? Because I'm sure if it's being outsourced, it can't be done at the
$9 to $10 more per service hour.
Yeah, that
is what I averaged. I mean, that's dirty math, but quick
Right,
and dirty.
sure.
But
Yeah.
generally, we can really monitor that very closely, being internal, using our team and making sure that we're as efficient as possible. But yeah, there's other micro transits out there, Share Mobility, Via, companies like that have come towards us, and I've said no, thank you.
when those services are outsourced, are they using vehicles that are comparable to ours in terms of the van or the bus, the smaller buses, or what are they using for those?
They're using a lot of vans, accessibility, and I think that's why they're cost, because they can't do the shared ride service
Yeah.
as much.
Yeah.
But they have to be mobility, they have to be accessible.
Right.
So I think that's where their costs
But there's
come
also,
in.
there's a lot of other efficiencies we have in the public system that the private sector does. I
Yep.
mean, obviously our insurance, lower cost. Fuel, there's no fuel tax. The private sector has to pay that. So you start going down the list, and there are greater efficiencies with a public transit system that a private sector is not going to be able to provide.
Yep.
I had a half dozen questions about those very same things during the call.
Yeah.
How are you doing this?
Yep. No, great. Well, thank you for the update. Any other
you.
questions?
Nope.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you.
Laura Toth, Medina County Senior and Adult Services Director.
Good morning.
Our 2024 annual report has been delayed a bit. It should be available in the next 2 weeks, and then I'll present things out of it at the May meeting. So apologize for that. Envelope Consulting has presented initial drawings for the bathroom renovation at the Medina Center, just on the senior center level, so just on the lower level. They presented us with 2 different options. We're reviewing them and we'll make a final choice. The renovation is set for the last week of August 2025 to begin. So we started really early because I want that tight timeline. I really want it to start then, so it'll be over with those 2 restrooms before the holidays is the goal. So we don't have to do any holiday parties elsewhere. The elevator in the building is also scheduled for replacement sometime in 2025, but I talked with Stephen, and it'll be scheduled around the bathroom. We can't have the bathrooms down and the elevators down at the same time.
Well, that's what we have in this building. We're doing bathrooms and then elevator here.
Correct, but
Right.
not, thank goodness, not at the same time. So kind of the same thing, yeah, you're facing here. Senior Adult Services is reviewing and updating our transit policy. Transit, as I've kept you informed, cost our agency about $150,000 last year. We're not planning to delete any approved rides. We are looking at the frequency in which we provide those rides. The only ones that will not continue at Effect Street clients are the combined independent living, assisted living, and skilled nursing facilities, because they do offer transportation options. And the people that live in independent living in those communities, and I'm talking about like Echelon, Western Reserve, Masonic, Story Point, and St. Ed's down in Brunswick, they do have transportation options, and they will still have the option to use Medina County Transit. And 3 of those facilities reside inside a flex unit, so it's 75 cents, a ride if they want to get somewhere for people who are approved for the half-price fare, which are most of these individuals. But we're not going to continue to cover those residents. But we're just looking at frequency. Like, we have people that are going multiple times to, like, the grocery store per week, so we might tighten that up. You still have the option to go multiple times, but we're going to pay once per week, at Senior and Adult Services. So I've been working with my staff and Shannon on that, and I will get that to administration for review probably by the end of the week, because we'd like to implement that May 1st. We've begun training for the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, everybody's favorite, for 2025. There's additional training next week. I've been asked by my advisory board to get more information for farmers and hopefully resources to go out to the Farm Bureau, so to let farmers know, what their options are and how they can be approved to receive these vouchers. So I'm currently looking into that. Program applications should roll out late April, beginning of May, according to them, and that's like a month earlier. So if that's true, that's a good thing, because farmers markets will start, mid to late May. The Brunswick Senior Expo was held last Wednesday, March 26th. It was very successful. We had over 380 people in attendance, and we had over 60 vendors. So thanks to everyone. Thanks to the commissioners, Sweattick and Hambley. I know Commissioner Harrison was on vacation, or you would have been there. But thanks for participating, and thanks also to everybody who got into the theme, which was Under the Big Top. Finally, I have a flyer for you. We will be having a dedication ceremony to rename our small shelter stage in the courtyard to the Parker Pavilion in memory of Sean Parker, who passed away quite suddenly on February 17th. And I just want to thank the commissioners and administration and the community for their continued support of our agency. Thank you so much.
Great gesture.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Denise Testa, Planning.
Morning.
Morning, Denise.
So regarding the Medina County Planning Commission, our April meeting is canceled. That is not an April Fool's joke. We are not meeting this Wednesday. For our May meeting, though, we are reviewing 3 subdivisions, 2 in Medina Township, 1 in Liverpool Township, with a total of nearly 350 sublots. We also will review 4 text amendments and 1 map amendment in Hinckley, Spencer, Lafayette, and Harrisville Townships. So everybody kind of took a break for April and launched all their efforts for May. Our cost of services study is continuing to move forward. I met with Jeff Brandon and Jeremy Cray to discuss that. So we'll be following up with that shortly. Subregs review, again, is continuing in collaboration or in parallel to the development agreement. For our program year 24 community development block grant, we have been approved to release our funds by the state, so we're able to start drawing down those funds, and then we are meeting with our local communities regarding the construction and service projects here in the near future. Regarding our program year 25 community housing improvement and preservation program, also known as CHIP, our Kleinfelder is reviewing the contract, and that should be wrapping up here fairly soon. And then we anticipate that we'll be meeting with the fairgrounds committee here sometime this month. So, are there any questions?
Did we want to go ahead and talk about the subdivision regulations committee as well, work group, and as well as the development agreement?
While I'm up here?
Parallel?
Sure.
Yeah, while we're
Makes
here.
sense to me.
Sure, I didn't know if
So,
you wanted to do it during
yeah.
the
Well, might as
discussion
well.
or
This is
So,
it. I mean,
whatever you would like.
The Home Builders Association had
Right.
reached out, and Jeremy from Pulte had offered their facility on Medina Road to have a bigger public hearing.
Right.
So Denise is going to coordinate now that you're back, maybe
Yeah.
get some dates out
I think it's a
potentially.
great idea.
But I don't think that prevents us from having another public
for
hearing
sure.
here.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, for the home builders hosting us, that would be a public meeting
Anyone
at
could
their
come
location.
at their location.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Great.
But our subreg committee, I know we need to tighten that up and finalize that.
We do.
As well as talk about where the development agreement fits within that.
Correct.
So, and I guess maybe just to recap, because I don't, looking through the notes from last week's meeting, I don't think it came up, but at the hearings that we had 2 weeks ago, the discussion was that we'd leave the developers agreement open for comment.
Oh, of course,
Through,
yeah.
was it May 1st?
May
Was that the
1st.
date?
Yeah, right.
So kind of our timeline, I think, for these discussion sessions would be post May 1st, right?
So you want, just to clarify, the public meeting, HBA meeting, you want that after May 1st?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean,
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
think that would make
That way,
sense.
it gives time to actually address those
Right.
before the next meeting.
And
say-
there were some preliminary matters that
Well,
came up there,
the-
but I think the main point of feedback I was hearing was a lot of folks just didn't feel they'd had time to
Right.
familiarize themselves.
Well, I think Andy and Jeremy need to take a look based upon the comments as to what they suggest in terms of changes, and
Yep.
that hearing, that next one could have, here's the newer draft based on those comments.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Would that
And-
make sense?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think a Tuesday evening, like a Commissioner's Day,
Sure,
would be
sure.
good for the
That'd be fine.
Home Builders Association
Oh,
public
okay.
hearing.
Yeah, okay.
So if you,
Did we want to schedule 2 public hearings? I mean, just get the dates,
Yeah,
confirm the dates together, because it
Sure.
sounds like you want to have more than one.
Oh, yes.
And so if we do maybe like a 14-day time frame in between, that way.
yep,
Okay, so after May 1st, 2 hearings, and then perhaps 14 days apart.
yeah.
and again, I think
Okay.
the Home Builders Association one. What are you thinking? Like 5:30 for people after work?
Yeah, certainly no earlier.
Oh,
than-
5:30?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, yep.
Oops.
And then you'll work with Jeff and the work group for the subregs,
Right,
And
kind of in
you'll work-
between.
right.
And those are public meetings as well.
Correct,
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And you'll work with the HBA and Pulte to set up the date.
correct. And,
Okay.
and Jeremy and Andy and
Of course.
whoever
yeah.
else would like to work with me.
And
Okay.
the only other thing I think
That
of,
list is growing.
yeah,
Yeah.
when we talk about Tuesday meetings too, I think about trustee meetings too, because, so maybe if we had if the other meeting wasn't necessarily on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
We'll do like a Tuesday and a Wednesday.
Yeah, so if we hit one group of
That makes
trustees with the
sense.
one meeting,
Yeah.
we can catch,
Yeah.
we
Okay.
won't be hitting the same trustee meetings the same with our meeting, so.
Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Anything else?
Anything else?
No, that sounds good.
I think it's a good plan.
Good plan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Next up, we have a commissioner's resolution. This is a resolution approving a petition for annexation of 2.0028 acres of land being part of Harrisville Township to the village of Lodi pursuant to ORC 709.22.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second the motion.
Motion and second. Is there any further discussion?
Well, I just make sure clear it under an expedited type 1, basically.
Yep.
This is we process it, and since the well, since the agreement between, it does involve the land staying within the township as well as the sharing of the, I guess, the inside village.
Right.
So,
Additional discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
yes.
Harrison?
Yes. Next up, any other public comment? Seeing none, move on to discussion session. Anything additional, Colleen? Steve?
Yeah, I do. Actually, Barb DeZor with the City of Medina asked me to make an announcement and kind of let everybody know that City of Medina is going to commemorate the Paul Revere's Ride for America 250 kickoff. That will be Friday, April 18th. It'll be over here in the square, the Two Lights for Tomorrow. It's a nationwide initiative to commemorate, of course, the beginning of the Revolutionary Paul Revere's famous ride and so forth. They'll have some reenactors, individuals, not only playing the characters, but also sharing Paul Revere's ride. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's a famous poem. I think when I went to school, everybody had to learn and to recite that. But anyway, so that will be occurring here in Medina. We'll have some information in our newsletter and more information out there. There's also some around that event. The library is also hosting a craft project for children where they can create their own lanterns that they can bring then for the evening, the 18th. So there's going to be more announcements about getting people all engaged and commemorating the American 250.
Great. Anything else on your list? The only thing I wanted to mention is I think probably most people in this room are aware the transportation budget was signed yesterday by the governor
Yep.
without any vetoes.
Yep.
So big thanks to everybody who helped participate in that. That's a big win for Medina County in terms of revoking the language of the interchange requirement from the Ohio Revised Code. So obviously our friends in Columbus were great at making that happen. We had a lot of help from NOACA, and obviously, the three of us were working towards kind of getting everybody rowing in the same direction. In addition to a lot of support from the folks in Brunswick, and all the citizens who leaned in to make it happen. So I think that's a big win, and we should all be very, very proud that happened and that it was pulled off and that the governor signed it without further incident.
But it also ensures that the funding is there to conduct the study.
The study
to
will move
look
forward.
at the traffic issues and have much more of an independent evaluation
Right.
of that traffic study than had been previously conducted by the city of Strongsville.
That's right. Which also kicks off my next quest to get a similar study done for some points south of Medina County where we could use some of those things as well. So that
Actually, the last study that NOACA did indicated that had far greater need than the one up by Strongsville.
That's right. The cost benefit was
Cost
positive
benefit was much more positive here.
but
Yes.
not up north. So
Okay.
I see Stan nodding along in approval. He's aware of that study too. Yes, yeah. So in any event, that was a big move, but it also doesn't it doesn't end. I think the bigger discussion about the future of interchanges in Medina County in points where they probably make a lot more sense than
Well,
in the middle of a residential area.
This
So-
improvement, Stan Wells knows, they take decades to have.
Right,
So-
right. With that, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session to discuss pending litigation.
Second the motion.
Motion and second. We need a roll call.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes. Thank you, everybody. We'll adjourn from there without further public, without going back on camera. So.